I'll make a very quick discussion video before I drop some very special analysis, probably tomorrow. The Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney result was labeled as shocking, and it seems to have shocked a lot of people. That within itself is very interesting. But with situations like these, the fight and the outcome is interesting, but it's more so the insight we gain into other aspects of the sport and combat in general. You can make the argument that one of the most important things for a fighter is how they react when they are in a very horrible situation or they get hit very hard, harder than they ever been hit. In particular, when they get hurt for the first time or any time, there's this thing that comes into play in the title: composure, poise. What happens when you're a fighter that's used to having things on your terms, but you're drugged out of your comfort zone into a place where you don't want to be? How do you respond? How do you react? I think when we look at fights and we try to say who will win, in the process of breaking down the how, we have to implement some sort of measure of composure for fighters. And I'll elaborate more on this in the video where I talk about experience, which I'll talk about why I think that's arguably the most important thing in fighting. If not, it's right up there with the most important things. If you have a fighter that's never been rocked on the big stage and they're used to being very safe, very clean, and basically fighting on their terms, and everything can change in the instant that they get hurt for the first time or they get dropped for the first time, things like that. And this is something people need to account for more, including myself, but I feel like I've accounted for it throughout most of my history. But you know, something I can think about more. Like you hear it talked about for a little bit, but this should be at the forefront of our analysis sometimes when we're dealing with significant levels of punching power, like the man on the screen. We have to ask the question, how will a person respond if they get hurt? Now, as I said before, talking about Devin and Ryan, we've seen how Devin reacts. He either tries to fight back a little bit or he most likely will clinch. So he has some experience being hurt, which I think would allow him to survive just a little bit longer. If he, in contrary to if this would have been his first time ever getting hurt to the degree that we've seen in the past with Loma, Linares, things like that. Although obviously he was way more hurt in this instance. But on our part, we can look at fighters and matchups and ask the question, how will someone respond? Not just when they are hit very hard, but what if someone's faster than them? What if someone, well, particularly what if someone's faster than them and they're used to being a faster fighter? What if someone's bigger than them and they're used to being a bigger fighter? What if someone has the footwork to catch up to them and they're used to escaping their opponents whenever they see fit? Shakur Stevenson is a good example of that instance right there. Those types of questions are at the core of what makes combat interesting, what makes boxing interesting. We want to see the best fight the best, because at the elite level, you'll meet somebody that can match or exceed your capabilities, and you have to find a way to do something about that and still find a way to win despite one of your crutches being taken away. Now, this is the most important part of the video. Before we leave, think about your favorite fighter. And yes, I keep talking about Devin versus Ryan because it's popular right now and people are going to gravitate towards it. But well, I want people to walk away with more than just the surface level stuff. Think about your favorite fighter, because Devin versus Ryan is just an example. It's just a single piece in service to a greater rule. If your favorite fighter has been hurt, how did they react? If they haven't, you now have to question how they would react or how they will react later in their career. And then also the other questions too, how have they reacted when somebody was as fast as them or hit as hard as them or had a great chin and just kept walking them down? Like, you got to ask about how they respond to test. If you have a favorite fighter, you have to think about that. You have to think about how they respond when they are truly tested in one way or another. Later on, I want to continue the power versus chin debate, which is I think very important. I love the power versus chin debate. Someone had a great comment about the power versus chin debate, and I responded to that, and I'm going to elaborate on that in a video using Devin versus Ryan as an example, but then also referencing one of the greatest fighters of all time, a very famous fighter, who is going to be the analysis that I'm going to be breaking down probably tomorrow. So like I always say, stick around, hit that notification bell and the like button. That way you can know what's finna happen next, because I think we'll have some fun pretty soon. With all the fight science, I am out.